I never imagined that one rainy night, a soaked little kitten would turn my entire world upside down. It all started when I came home from a long day at work and found my wife Emily standing at the front door, drenched yet smiling like she'd just discovered buried treasure. "I found him," she declared, her eyes shining with excitement and a hint of mischief. A little stray, all alone on the sidewalk. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. In our modest life, where every dollar mattered and every plan was measured, the idea of taking in another responsibility, let alone a scruffy, shivering bundle of fur, seemed utterly absurd. But Emily's enthusiasm was contagious. Without a word, she scooped up the trembling kitten, wrapped it in an old sweater, and carried it inside like it was the most precious thing in the world. I watched, half amused and half worried, as she set up a little bed for the creature right in the living room. The kitten, with matted fur and wide, curious eyes, didn't resist. In fact, it almost seemed as if it knew that it had finally found a safe haven. We named him Lucky, not because we believed in fortune, but because something about that name felt like it was destined to be more than just an ironic comment on our financial struggles. Little did I know, Lucky would soon become the linchpin of a series of events that would transform our lives in ways I could never have predicted. At first, it was the little things. Every morning, Lucky would greet us with a series of playful pounces and soft purrs that made the early hours a little less bleak. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table, Emily pulled out her phone to capture a candid moment of Lucky chasing his own tail. I remember laughing out loud, the sound echoing in our small kitchen, as she posted the video online with a simple caption, "Meet our new family member." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within minutes, the video was racking up likes, shares, and comments from strangers who found joy in the innocence and charm of this little furball. Before we knew it, social media accounts dedicated to Lucky started gaining traction. It wasn't long before influencers, pet enthusiasts, and even some major brands took notice. A pet food company sent us a message offering a generous sponsorship deal, and soon, a steady stream of brand collaborations followed. Every day brought new surprises, messages from fans, emails with proposals, and even interviews with local news outlets. We were suddenly living a life that felt surreal. Our humble existence, once defined by tight budgets and endless worries, was now interwoven with a dazzling world of opportunity and recognition. As the days turned into weeks, the growth of Lucky's online presence became more than just a fun distraction. It evolved into a full-blown phenomenon. I found myself spending nights brainstorming with Emily about potential ideas for videos, strategizing content that would keep our audience engaged. We started documenting not just Lucky's antics, but also the behind-the-scenes moments of our lives, the highs, the lows, the unexpected challenges of suddenly being thrust into the spotlight. Every click, every view, felt like a small victory against the backdrop of a life that had once felt stagnant and hopeless. Soon, the money began to roll in. What started as a few $1,000s from a single sponsorship quickly snowballed into six-figure sums over the course of a year. It wasn't just about the cash, though that certainly eased many of our financial burdens. It was about the sense of validation. For the first time in years, I felt like we were not only surviving, but thriving. We invested in new equipment, upgraded our home studio, and even took a few long overdue vacations that had always seemed like distant dreams. With every new opportunity, our little digital family grew larger, and the love and support from our followers became a constant reminder that miracles sometimes do come in the smallest packages. But as with any whirlwind success story, there were twists and turns that none of us could have anticipated. The influx of money and fame brought not only joy, but also unexpected challenges. We were suddenly approached by an enigmatic investor who claimed that he saw a rare potential in our brand. His proposition was intriguing, a partnership that would take our online presence to an entirely new level, opening doors to international markets and high-profile endorsements. Despite my initial skepticism, having seen too many get-rich-quick schemes come and go, Emily's unwavering optimism convinced me to at least hear him out. The meetings were held in sleek boardrooms and upscale cafes, far removed from the familiar comfort of our living room where it all began. I vividly remember sitting across from this man, his eyes glinting with a mix of ambition and mystery. He spoke in smooth, persuasive tones about the power of digital influence, about how Lucky wasn't just a pet, but a symbol of hope and transformation. He promised that with the right backing, our story could inspire millions and reshape the very nature of online entertainment. There was something magnetic about his vision, something that made even the most cautious parts of my mind lean towards possibility. However, as the partnership discussions progressed, I began to notice subtle shifts in our dynamic. The investor's influence started to permeate every decision we made. Meetings became longer. The creative freedom we once enjoyed was slowly being replaced by rigid schedules and contractual obligations. I found myself questioning whether we were still in control of our own narrative. Emily, on the other hand, remained steadfast, often reassuring me that this was just a temporary adjustment on the path to something greater. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were teetering on the edge of losing something essential, our authentic voice. The turning point came one seemingly ordinary afternoon when Emily and I were reviewing our latest analytics. The numbers were through the roof. Our audience was growing exponentially. Yet, amidst the celebrations, a disturbing trend began to emerge. Comments and messages started referencing a strange, recurring symbol, a mysterious icon that none of us could explain. At first, it seemed like nothing more than a glitch or an internet meme, but soon, it became clear that this was something more. The symbol began to appear in unexpected places, in the background of our videos, in the margins of emails from our new business partner, even subtly integrated into Lucky's branding. It felt as though someone, or something, was trying to send us a message. I couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. Late at night, I would lie awake, my mind racing with questions. Who was behind this symbol? Was it a marketing ploy? Or was there a deeper, more sinister motive at play? My worries reached a fever pitch the day I received an anonymous email filled with cryptic hints and warnings. The message was short, but its implications were chilling. Not all that glitters is gold, and sometimes the smallest things hold the darkest secrets. The email ended with the same symbol that had been haunting our videos, a stark reminder that our journey was far from ordinary. In the midst of this digital storm, Lucky's behavior began to change. The once playful kitten started exhibiting strange habits, staring intently at shadows, reacting to sounds that weren't there, and occasionally disappearing for long stretches of time only to reappear with an odd glimmer in his eyes. At first, I chalked it up to the stress of our rapidly changing lives, but then, Emily confided in me about a dream she had, one in which Lucky was more than just a pet. He was a guardian, a key to unlocking mysteries that lay hidden in the depths of our past. I found myself pulled into a vortex of questions and doubts. How much of our success was truly serendipity, and how much was orchestrated by forces we couldn't see? The investor, with his enigmatic presence and calculated moves, seemed to be at the center of it all. His reappearance in our lives felt like a puzzle piece clicking into place, a piece that could either complete our picture of success or shatter it entirely. I remember the day vividly. I was sorting through some old family photos when I stumbled upon a faded newspaper clipping. It mentioned a reclusive billionaire who had mysteriously disappeared years ago, leaving behind a legacy of unexplained ventures and secretive projects. In a small, nearly forgotten paragraph, there was a reference to a lucky charm that had been rumored to bring fortune to its finder. The connection was too uncanny to ignore. Could it be that our Lucky was more than just an ordinary stray? Had fate somehow orchestrated this encounter, linking our humble beginnings to a legacy of unimaginable wealth and hidden truths? The deeper I dug, the more I realized that our story was entangled with secrets that stretched far beyond the world of social media and sponsorship deals. Late-night phone calls, hushed conversations in dimly lit rooms, and cryptic messages began to fill our days. Emily and I found ourselves drawn into a labyrinth of intrigue, where every new lead opened up more questions than answers. It was as if the universe was challenging us to peel back the layers of our own lives, to confront uncomfortable truths about ambition, trust, and the cost of chasing dreams. One fateful evening, after a particularly grueling day of negotiations and sleepless nights spent poring over contracts, I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The city was alive with neon lights and restless energy, a stark contrast to the quiet storm brewing in my mind. As I strolled through a deserted park, I noticed a figure in the distance, standing under a flickering street lamp. The person's posture was tense, and they seemed to be waiting for someone. Drawn by an inexplicable impulse, I approached cautiously. The figure turned out to be a woman, her eyes filled with both fear and determination. Without a word, she handed me a small envelope. Inside was a handwritten note that read, "Sometimes the smallest clues can lead to the biggest revelations. Trust no one." Attached to the note was a photo of Lucky, alone, in a place I'd never seen before, surrounded by symbols that matched those haunting our videos. I rushed home, my heart pounding in my chest. Emily was waiting, concern etched across her face. I showed her the note, and together we pieced together the fragments of a mystery that had been simmering beneath the surface of our newfound success. It seemed that Lucky's adoption was not a mere coincidence but a pivotal moment in a much larger narrative, a narrative that spanned decades, involving lost fortunes, clandestine organizations, and an investor whose true intentions were still shrouded in darkness. As we delved deeper into the mystery, the lines between our personal lives and the enigma surrounding Lucky began to blur. Our once simple journey of turning a stray kitten into a beloved online sensation had evolved into a high-stakes game of uncovering secrets and navigating treacherous alliances. Every meeting with the investor, every cryptic message we received, added another layer to the story. The excitement of our rapid rise to fortune was now tempered by a palpable sense of danger and uncertainty. The online world that had once been our playground transformed into a complex web of intrigue, where loyalty was constantly tested and every click could lead to unforeseen consequences. In the midst of all this, Emily remained the pillar of strength and optimism. Her unwavering belief in the goodness of people, in the magic of second chances, kept me anchored even as the world around us spiraled into chaos. We began to see that our journey was not just about money or fame, it was about rediscovering who we were, about embracing the unexpected twists of fate that led us to this very moment. Our love for each other deepened as we navigated the murky waters of trust and ambition, and even in the face of mounting pressures, we found solace in the quiet moments shared with Lucky curled up in our laps, as if he were silently reassuring us that everything would be all right. The climax of our adventure came on a stormy night, eerily reminiscent of the night when Emily first brought Lucky home. The city was shrouded in darkness, the rain pounding relentlessly against our windows. We were in the middle of a heated discussion with the investor, whose suave demeanor had now given way to something far more sinister. In the tense silence of his office, a stark modern space that felt more like a battleground than a boardroom, the investor laid out his final proposition. He revealed that Lucky was not just a lucky find, but a key part of an elaborate scheme that had been in motion long before we ever met him. According to his meticulously crafted plan, the kitten was genetically unique, a living anomaly that had the potential to revolutionize not only the pet industry, but also a range of medical and technological fields. The fortune we had amassed was only the beginning. With the right investments and research, the possibilities were limitless. I felt a chill run down my spine as the investor's words sunk in. The idea that a simple stray could be the linchpin of such a groundbreaking venture was both thrilling and terrifying. Emily, ever the voice of reason, interjected, "Are we really ready for this kind of responsibility? What if we're just pawns in a game we can't control?" Her eyes, usually so full of hope, now mirrored the storm raging outside. The investor's proposal promised immense wealth and global recognition, but at what cost? Our lives had already been upended, and now we stood at the crossroads of an entirely new reality, one where every decision could have far-reaching consequences. In that moment of high tension, as thunder rumbled in the distance and the investor's gaze bore into me, I realized that our journey had come full circle. What had begun as a simple act of kindness, a decision to bring a lost kitten into our home, had grown into an intricate tapestry of fate, ambition, and mystery. mystery. Every twist and turn, every challenge and triumph was a thread woven into the fabric of our shared destiny. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle upon me, and knew that there was only one way forward: to embrace the unknown, to trust in the journey, and to stand together, no matter what lay ahead. The investor left us with one final ultimatum, a choice that could either secure our future or dismantle everything we had built. The room fell silent as we exchanged glances, the decision hanging in the air like a fragile promise. With a newfound determination, Emily reached out and took my hand. "We started this journey because we believed in something bigger than ourselves," she whispered. "Now, it's time to decide if we're willing to risk it all for a chance to change the world." That night, as the rain subsided and the first hints of dawn began to break through the darkness, we made our choice. It wasn't an easy decision. There were moments of doubt, of fear, of wondering if we were being blinded by the allure of riches and fame. But in our hearts, we knew that the path we had chosen was the only one that felt true to who we were. We would take the leap, not because we were certain of the outcome, but because we had learned that sometimes the most extraordinary stories begin with a single, seemingly insignificant act of kindness. Over the following months, we threw ourselves into the project with a passion that defied our past struggles. The investor's initial vision was just the starting point, and as we worked alongside a team of dedicated experts, we began to uncover layers of innovation and opportunity we never knew existed. Lucky, ever the enigma, became a symbol of our journey, a living testament to the unpredictable twists of fate. His quirky behavior, his uncanny knack for appearing in just the right moment, only added to the mystique that surrounded him. Every day was a new adventure, every challenge a chance to prove that our destiny was not predetermined but forged by our own actions. As the project gained momentum, our lives began to change in ways that were both exhilarating and humbling. We traveled to conferences, met with industry leaders, and even appeared on major talk shows, sharing our story with an audience that had grown exponentially. Yet, even as we celebrated our successes, the lingering mystery of Lucky's origins and the cryptic messages that had first alerted us to a larger conspiracy continued to gnaw at our thoughts. There were late-night brainstorming sessions filled with heated debates, moments of silence when the gravity of our situation became almost too overwhelming to bear. But through it all, one thing remained constant: the unshakable bond between Emily and me, forged in the fires of uncertainty and tempered by our shared hope for a better future. Then, just when it seemed like we had finally found our footing in this new world, a shocking revelation sent tremors through our lives. During a routine meeting with one of the lead researchers, an intern stumbled upon a forgotten file in the depths of the company's archives, a file that contained records dating back decades, linking the reclusive billionaire, the mysterious investor, and an experimental project that had been abandoned long ago. The documents revealed that the billionaire had been obsessed with the idea of creating a living miracle, an organism that could adapt and evolve to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges. The more I read, the more I realized that Lucky was not just a random stray. He was the culmination of an experiment that had been in motion long before our paths crossed. The implications were staggering. Our entire journey, from the moment Emily found that shivering kitten on the rain-soaked sidewalk, was part of a grand design, an intricate web of chance and deliberate intervention. We were not merely beneficiaries of a lucky break. We were key players in a story that spanned generations, a narrative that defied explanation and challenged everything we thought we knew about fate and free will. The weight of this discovery was immense, and for the first time, I felt the full magnitude of the responsibility resting on our shoulders. The investor, who had once seemed like a benefactor, now appeared to be the guardian of secrets that could alter the course of history. In the weeks that followed, as we grappled with the enormity of what we had uncovered, our once bright future became shrouded in uncertainty. Questions piled up like storm clouds. What did this mean for us? Were we merely pawns in a larger game? And most hauntingly of all, could we ever truly control the destiny that had been thrust upon us? Emily and I spent countless sleepless nights discussing our options, weighing the risks and rewards of continuing down a path that now seemed fraught with danger. Yet even in the midst of our doubts, there was a fierce determination that kept us moving forward. We had come too far to turn back now. The climax of our journey arrived unexpectedly. In a final, heart-pounding confrontation with the investor and his inner circle, all the threads of our story converged in a moment of raw, unfiltered truth. In a room filled with tension and unspoken accusations, I found myself facing the man who had set these events in motion. His eyes, once full of persuasive charm, now burned with an intensity that left no room for negotiation. "You wanted a miracle," he said, his voice echoing off the sterile walls. "But miracles come with a price." In that instant, I realized that our lives had been an elaborate dance of destiny and chance, a symphony of coincidences and calculated moves that had led us to this fateful moment. As the confrontation reached its peak, a sudden calm fell over the room. Emily stepped forward, her voice steady and resolute, and spoke of the love that had sustained us through every trial, of the power of hope, and the unyielding belief that we were meant to rise above the chaos. Her words resonated deeply, cutting through the tension like a beacon of light in the darkness. And then, in a moment that felt both surreal and inevitable, the investor extended his hand, a silent acknowledgement that our journey, with all its twists and turns, had reached its zenith. In that final, breathtaking moment, as I looked into his eyes and saw the reflection of every risk we had taken, every heartbreak we had endured, and every ounce of courage that had fueled our ascent, I knew that the true miracle was not in the wealth we had acquired or the fame we had garnered. It was in the transformation of our lives, in the way a tiny, drenched kitten had forced us to confront our fears and embrace the unknown. The storm that had once threatened to engulf us had, in the end, given way to a new dawn. A dawn filled with the promise of redemption, renewal, and the unwavering belief that every twist in our journey was a step towards becoming who we were truly meant to be. And so, as the first rays of sunlight broke through the darkness and illuminated a path forward, I took a deep breath and let the weight of the past fall away. We had emerged from the crucible of our own own making, scarred but stronger, wiser, but still filled with that same boundless hope that had carried us through it all. With Emily by my side and Lucky, our miraculous little feline, purring contentedly at our feet, I stepped into the future with a heart full of gratitude and a soul ready to embrace whatever came next. In the end, it wasn't just about making money or gaining fame, it was about the unexpected journey that taught us the true value of love, trust, and the courage to follow a path that no one else could see. Every challenge, every secret, every mysterious symbol was a reminder that sometimes, the most extraordinary stories begin in the most ordinary ways. And as I stood there, reflecting on the wild ride that had transformed our lives, I finally understood that the real miracle was the unbreakable bond we forged along the way. The bond that turned a chance encounter on a rainy night into a legacy that would live on far beyond the fleeting glare of fame. The investor may have been a catalyst, and the mysteries we unraveled might have altered our destiny, but ultimately, the power to shape our future lay within us. In that final, decisive moment, as we accepted the challenge and stepped forward together, I realized that every piece of our journey, every twist of fate, and every brush with danger was a part of something much larger than ourselves. And with that realization came a profound sense of peace, a knowing that no matter what the future held, we were exactly where we were meant to be. I walked out of that meeting with a renewed sense of purpose, the echo of Emily's words still ringing in my ears, and Lucky by my side, as if silently affirming that our story was far from over. We had conquered obstacles, unearthed long-buried secrets, and emerged victorious in the face of overwhelming odds. And as I gazed out at the horizon, the promise of a new day unfolding before me, I knew that our journey was a testament to the indomitable spirit of hope, a reminder that sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can spark a revolution of the heart. In the quiet aftermath of that fateful night, as the city slowly came back to life and the memories of chaos began to fade, I finally allowed myself to exhale. The mysteries had been resolved, the investor's ambitions had been curtailed, and our lives had settled into a rhythm that was both extraordinary and beautifully ordinary. It was a resolution that felt earned, a victory not just in the form of wealth or success, but in the reclaiming of our narrative, one that belonged to us alone. Standing on the threshold of a future filled with promise, I smiled as I remembered the moment it all began. A rainy night, a desperate search for hope, and the discovery of a little kitten who was destined to change our lives forever. And as I turned to Emily, whose eyes shone with love and the quiet strength of a woman who had weathered every storm by my side, I realized that in the end, every twist, every secret, and every challenge had led us to this very moment, a moment of clarity, of resolution, and of infinite possibility. That night, as we finally closed the chapter on our tumultuous adventure and looked forward to a future built on trust, love, and a little bit of luck, I knew one thing for certain. Our story, in all its winding complexity, was our very own miracle. A miracle born from the simplest act of kindness, and a reminder that sometimes, fate has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. And as the final echoes of that incredible night faded into the soft hum of the early morning, I stood there, overwhelmed by the beauty of our journey, and realized with absolute clarity that everything had come full circle. I finally understood that life's most profound truths are often hidden in the smallest of moments, a truth that had been whispered to me on that rainy night when everything changed, and I saw it all clearly for the first time. It was in that moment, with Emily's hand in mine and Lucky purring at our feet, that I knew the real miracle was not the fortune we had amassed or the fame we had acquired, but the unwavering love and resilience that had carried us through every twist and turn of our unpredictable journey. And as the sun rose on a brand new day, illuminating the path ahead with a promise of endless possibilities, I took one last look back at the winding road that had brought us here, and with a deep sense of gratitude and awe, I finally let it all sink in. Everything, the mystery, the suspense, the triumphs, and even the darkest of moments, had led to this singular, breathtaking resolution. The realization that life is not measured by the fortunes we accumulate, but by the love we nurture, and the courage we summon to embrace the unknown. And in that powerful moment of clarity, as the world awakened around us, I understood that the story of a little stray kitten, a determined woman, and a man who dared to dream, would forever be etched in our hearts as the miracle that transformed our lives forever.